Breaking, London is burning. Not with fire, but with a fight that could end the monarchy as we know it. Mayor Sadiq Khan just did something no elected official has dared to do in 300 years. He looked King Charles in the eye and said, "Your time is over." And what happened next has split Britain down the middle. We're just 48 hours away from a vote that could remove Khan from office, trigger the biggest protests London has seen in decades, and rewrite the rules between crown and democracy forever. This is the story the palace doesn't want you to hear. If you want the truth about what's really happening, hit subscribe right now because by the end of this week, one of these two men will be finished. Here's what started the fire. 5 days ago, Khan rolled out the London Citizenship Charter, a bold plan forcing every business in the city to sign diversity agreements or pay fines up to £50,000. His words at the announcement were crystal clear. London will lead Britain into the 21st century whether the establishment likes it or not. King Charles heard those words, and he didn't stay quiet. For the first time in modern history, the king used something called crown intervention, a legal power buried deep in constitutional law that lets the monarchy formally challenge a mayor's authority. Charles sent a letter to Parliament asking them to review whether Khan had overstepped his power. The palace released the letter publicly. It was a declaration of war. Khan's response came fast. At 4 p.m. yesterday, he stood outside City Hall in front of rolling cameras. His voice shook, his hands gripped the podium. The unelected king, Khan began, has just told the democratically elected mayor of London that he knows better than 8 million Londoners who voted for change. This is not 1825. This is 2025, and I will not be silenced by a crown that has forgotten the people it claims to serve. The crowd behind him erupted, but inside Westminster, jaws dropped. Constitutional expert Professor Badenoch called it the most direct attack on royal authority since the Civil War. Labour MPs started getting calls immediately. Khan's own party was panicking. But here's where it gets worse for Khan. 3 journalists at the press conference reported the same thing. Khan's press secretary was frantically trying to shut him down. David Bellamy was making cutting gestures, mouthing "stop," begging Khan to end the speech. Khan ignored him completely. He kept going, feeding off the energy, crossing lines that can't be uncrossed. Then Khan aimed at the entire royal family. How many palaces does one family need while ordinary Londoners can't afford rent? The crowd roared. Twitter exploded. But back in Westminster, Labour's Shadow Home Secretary, Yvette turned off her TV. She told Aide she couldn't watch anymore. And then came the stories that changed everything. James Morrison is 73 years old. He fought in the Falklands War and lost his right leg serving Britain. For 30 years, he lived in a flat in Cutton. Last month, he was evicted to make room for social housing under Khan's housing quotas. I fought for Britain. Morrison told reporters, tears running down his face. And now Britain has no room for me in its own capital. His story was shared 300,000 times in 24 hours. The contrast was immediate and brutal. While veterans like Morrison lose their homes, Khan's office spent £2 million on diversity consultants last year. Leaked receipts showed City Hall spent £18,000 on a single weekend retreat at a luxury spa in Surrey. £18,000. While pensioners freeze and veterans get pushed out. Sarah Jenkins, a 62-year-old retired nurse from Barking, recorded a video that's been viewed over 1 million times. "I voted for him twice," she said, crying. "I believed in him. But he cares more about his image than he does about us." The polls moved fast. In 72 hours, Khan's approval rating dropped 18 points. Among voters over 50, his at 19%. Even young progressives are walking away. His support among under-30s fell from 71% to 53% in just 3 days. King Charles didn't back down. At a royal reception for Commonwealth leaders yesterday, he gave a speech that palace insiders are calling the most political moment by a monarch in 70 years. "The traditions that bind this nation together," Charles said, voice steady, "cannot be discarded by those who mistake temporary power for permanent authority. London belongs to all Britons, not to the ideological whims of any single mayor." The room went silent. Diplomats froze. Palace aides later admitted they begged Charles not to say it, but he refused. According to sources, Charles personally rewrote the speech 3 times, making it stronger with each iteration. He was drawing a line. At 11:23 p.m. last night, Khan posted on Twitter, "The Crown lectures me about tradition while protecting inherited wealth and privilege. I answer to Londoners, not to palaces." The tweet was deleted 17 minutes later, but screenshots were everywhere. Political strategists called it amateur hour. Labour leader Keir Starmer released a statement hours later. Khan's views don't represent the Labour Party. When your own party leader disowns you publicly, you're done. The markets reacted immediately. The pound dropped 0.3% within minutes of Charles's speech, wiping £1.2 billion from London's financial sector. Bloomberg analysts openly questioned London's future as a financial hub if the chaos continues. Protests broke out across the city. Thousands waving Union Jacks demanded Khan's resignation from Trafalgar Square to Tower Bridge. Counter-protesters clashed with royalists outside Westminster. 12 arrests, 7 officers injured, 3 police vehicles damaged. London hasn't seen street violence like this since the 2011 riots. Inside City Hall, Khan's team is falling apart. Deputy Mayor Sophie Linden reportedly threatened to resign during an emergency meeting Tuesday. She told colleagues Khan had crossed a line that couldn't be uncrossed. Another senior aide was overheard saying Khan's political judgment had completely collapsed. Multiple sources described Khan as exhausted, isolated, checking Twitter obsessively, unable to let go of criticism. One longtime aide said he knows he's in the fight of his political life and he's not sure he can win. But then the story changed completely. The Telegraph obtained leaked documents from Khan's office. Internal emails from September show strategy meetings where Khan's team discussed manufacturing a conflict with royal authority to galvanize progressive voters. One email from Khan's chief strategist reads, "We need a villain. The crown is perfect, unelected, wealthy, traditional, everything our base opposes." If these documents are real, this wasn't a reaction. It was a plan. Khan may have deliberately provoked the king, expecting public sympathy for the elected mayor standing up to the unelected monarch. But he catastrophically misjudged Britain in 2025. The country isn't ready to abandon the crown, especially not for a mayor whose policies have made London less safe, less affordable, and more divided. Constitutional historian Professor David Starkey called the leaked emails * the most cynical political manipulation I've seen in 50 years. The Conservative opposition is moving fast. Leader Kemi Badenoch held a press conference this morning that sounded like a campaign launch. While Sadiq Khan attacks the king, she said, real Londoners suffer. Crime is up 23%. Housing affordability is at record lows. 12,000 businesses have fled London in the past year. And his response? Attack the one institution that unites this country. The numbers back her up. Knife crime in London is up 31% since Khan took office. Average rent has increased 48%. Conservative support in London has surged from 31% to 42% in just 4 days. For the first time since 2016, Conservatives lead Labour in Greater London polling. The next 72 hours will decide everything. Khan faces 3 critical pressure points. Monday, a vote of no confidence where his own Labour councillors may turn against him. Thursday, an emergency parliamentary debate where Conservative MPs will demand a formal investigation into whether Khan exceeded his authority. Saturday, mass protests are expected to draw 100,000 royalists into central London. The question isn't whether Khan survives politically, it's whether London itself can survive the chaos his fight has created. Britain is watching its capital tear itself apart in real time, divided between those who believe mayors can challenge outdated institutions and those who believe some traditions matter more than political ambition. Not since the abdication crisis of 1936 has royal authority been challenged so directly by an elected official. At the center stands Sadiq Khan, looking increasingly isolated, increasingly desperate, and increasingly finished. So here's the real question. Did Khan just commit career suicide by declaring war on King Charles? Or did Charles cross a constitutional line by intervening in London politics? Who wins this fight, the elected mayor or the unelected king? Drop your answer in the comments. Do you stand with Khan or Charles? Should Khan resign? Or does he have the right to challenge royal interference? We want to hear from you because this isn't just London's fight. It's about the future of democracy and tradition in Britain. If this story shocked you, share it. The mainstream media is covering the surface, but they're not showing you the leaked documents, the veteran stories, or the internal chaos inside Khan's team. We are. And tomorrow, we're releasing the full leaked emails that prove Khan planned this fight from the beginning. What those emails reveal about his real plan for London will change how you see this entire crisis. Subscribe and turn on notifications because the next 48 hours will determine whether a mayor or a monarch controls the future of Britain. Thank you for watching.